round and pick the winner at the 8 o'clock at Chelmsford, which is a 10 furlong handicap, Class 5 event. And there is horse number 7 making the way down. That's Fair Power in the hands of Dara Keenan. Talking about horse who know how to win at Chelmsford, that horse certainly does. Looks for course and distance win number 3. Dangerous Ends is 7-2, looking to snap that run of 2s. Central City is 4-1. The game is on 5-1. Creso Cumrag at 6-1. Fair Power 8-1. Dreamboat Dave the same. Secretario 10-1. 12-1 Bayston Hill. A Blate at 28-1, and Engrave is 33-1. Let's begin with Dangerous Ends, George. Ben Curtis, he looks for a double on the night after Beautiful Illusion won the 6:30. He's aboard for the first time. Good booking for Brett Johnson. And back in trip from Kempton last time behind Tupsin, and that was a fantastic finish on the day that Sunday afternoon. Gina Mangan, that first winner back after serious injury, but Dangerous Ends was second. It's been 2 years since the latest of 5 career victories. How much more is needed based on the silver medals of late? How much more is needed to drop right?
I just think for Dangerous Ends to be seen to best effect, probably wants the race to set up in a certain way. He wants plenty of pace, and with the game is on in the race, Engrave, you're kind of looking at, it could be run at a nice gallop, and that's what would see Dangerous Ends run to best effect. I think it's massive for me, dropping back to 10 furlongs, 12 furlongs last time at Kempton was okay, but I just think I would prefer to see him at 10 furlongs. I think that's where he's most effective, and he's effective over course and distance. He's won off this mark. I know that was a little while ago. He actually hasn't won for a little while. Yeah. But he's been running very, very well. And I suppose he needs a race to set up in a certain way to be seen to best effect. But is he well handicapped enough to win? I think I'd be looking elsewhere. I think he's too short for me.
We'll stick with you then. And beg your pardon, Dave.
Well, no, I'm just I'm quite watching the market. I'm quite pleased to see money. I put up an Ian Williams horse here, the top one, Central City, been back from 9-2 to 7-2 as we approach post time. He's run well the last twice over 1.5 miles, and just listening to George's comments about Dangerous Ends and the game is on, I think this horse is looking likely to get a race run to suit. He last won over 1.25 miles. Yeah. He's I think he's £1 higher than when he last won, but that was on turf at Doncaster.
I think it's £4 difference.
Is it? Sorry, right. Okay. Yeah. He's definitely back to a winning mark that he can win a handicap off, and he spent most of last autumn running okay off higher marks, but it just looks as though he's in a mood to win, and he might just have a race. Just a bit worried about being drawn 10. Well, he's going to drop out anyway. Well, not drop out.
Just to go with what Dave said, I think obviously a fair few people do fancy Central City, Dave included, and had been backed earlier, and it's the return to 10 was behind that subsequent winner, Glunny Gore, at Newcastle last time. It was a funny sort of race, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think the interesting thing with Central City, that was over the 12 furlongs. I think drawn back to 10 furlongs. For me, that's where he's been seen to best effect. And if you go back through to the beginning of 2019, he won over course and distance of a mark of 74. He's 72 today. I think he represents a horse that may well have a race in hand, if that makes sense, handicap-wise. Exactly, and that's the way I look at it. And I think it will set up better than him. I think back 10 furlongs will be a massive help. He's run well the last twice over the 12 furlongs at Wolverhampton and at Newcastle last time, and I just think it will set up better for him. He'll need a little bit of luck from stall 10, but I'd imagine PJ MacDonald will be prepared to forfeit. Won't want to forfeit ground, so he'll get in from his wide draw and maybe take his time a little bit.
I don't think the game is on is one that you want to overlook here. Who was behind Lucky's Dream in a small field last time here. The winner was completing a hat-trick, made the running. He's been doing that to positive effect throughout the winter, and they're keeping with the blinkers as well. The same mark as last time would likely be one to, as you see, with the extra assistance going in there in the blindfold as he goes into stall 4, I should say. Would likely shape the race, one of those on the front end.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good effort last time when Ryan Tate was on board. I think Luke Morris was in Dubai at the time and was beaten by Lucky's Dream, who probably had a race in hand, was well handicapped in that grade, and it was a taken effort. He was beaten comfortably, but he beat Wimpole Hole by half a length in third, and he sort of sets a decent enough standard, but he's been a bridesmaid on the last 3 starts, and I think they'll just keep things straightforward as they normally do with him.
Yeah.
He's obviously drawn well in Storefall, and Luke Morris will be keeping things straightforward and just roll along and keep things simple.
There's been sustained support at prices for the bottom one, Dreamboat Dave. I couldn't see it myself on what it's been doing recently, but it was a 25 to 1 chance.
Sole success did come round here at this course and distance.
I thought Bayston Hill would run well at a bit of a price, back down to a winning mark of 66. He's won over course and distance sort of early last year off 68 over course and distance, and I know he probably looked disappointed at Lingfield last time, but it was his first run after a break at the end of January, and he was only beaten 5 1/4 lengths behind Subliminal. Dangerous End was the second. I think he can turn that round. He'll be a bit sharper for that practice, and he's very effective over course and distance.
Not much then, separating those at the top of the market. Central City 4 to 1, co-favourites of 3 now. The game is on, and Dangerous Ends, a couple of solid options in there, and we'll see how they all get on with Anthony Ennis for the penultimate race.
Oblate. Oh, they've got her in. Well done to the handlers. Do a great job, best in the world. Last couple to go in, Central City and Engrave. It's a very dark grey in colour, Engrave. Here she comes now. Last one, Engrave in, ready for a start. They're off. Slow to go was Oblate, who didn't want to go in the stalls and missed the kick. Oblate. They're racing. A bit of a messy start as well for Bayston Hill, who's chased along to gather stride. This is the Toadies back with better value, handicap over 1.25 miles. Nice smooth beginning by Dreamboat Dave, will lead up in the green and yellow on the inside. They race up past the stands with Engrave the grey in second. Behind them to the inside is Secretario the white and blue. 1 out, 1 back is the well-backed Central City, who's racing in the red with a white star. Just behind them is Fair Power in the dark blue and orange colours. To the inside of the game is on, who's in the green and white diamonds on the outside. Croisu Cumraig is being held up in behind. On the inside of Dangerous Ends, who's racing with the red and yellow on the sleeves and the black cap. And then towards the rear, we have in the blue and white Bayston Hill after a messy beginning. And last of all is the slow starting Oblate. So down the back straight they go, 5.5 furlongs still to travel from here. And the leader to the inside is Dreamboat Dave and Kieran O'Neill. Racing in second is Engrave. Behind them is Secretario on the inside in the hands of Josie Gordon. Behind those is Central City in the red and white colours. Back behind those on the inside is Fair Power, the orange cap. Alongside the game is on, the green cap. Croisu Cumraig is next in the field on the inside of Dangerous Ends. And the back two are still Bayston Hill and Oblate in the dark blue and white. Beginning the turn now towards the home straight. Dreamboat Dave now driven. Engrave in second place. Behind them Central City is moving quite well. To the inside Secretario also travelling nicely as they make the turn. Dreamboat Dave in front, to in second Engrave. Secretario still catching the eye, going well on the inside. Out wider is Central City, the red and white, and behind those we have the game is on. They're in line for home. Here comes Secretario now to try and challenge to the running rail Dreamboat Dave. Out wider, keeping on well Central City. Croisu Cumraig is also challenging very late in the piece, but up front it's still Dreamboat Dave against the running rail, very game. Here's Secretario, Josie Gordon though challenging fast and late. Secretario, Dreamboat Dave, Secretario just to Dreamboat Dave. Bayston Hill third, fourth Engrave, then Croisu Cumraig, Central City. The game is on, Dangerous Ends, Fair Power and Oblate.
Good finish, and Secretario has got there. Josephine Gordon for Sean Keatley, and has transferred to the yard from Anthony Carson, the first start for the yard. And a good performance as well. Has run down it's run down Dreamboat Dave, I should say, in the concluding stages of the race for victory. We're still travelling pretty well there. Some interesting
I'm
tactics.
Say worn down rather than run down. I just think Dreamboat Dave, saying it's been run down, does it a little bit of a disservice. I think he's run an absolute
He's run a pretty good race on the front end, and was backed as well.
Yeah, it was backed. But this horse, notable. I was keeping half an eye on Central City, who went wide, but I had absolutely no excuse whatsoever. But this horse that's won was noted for the last 4 furlongs, was travelling like the winner.
George, your thoughts on this? From how it went out? I thought from a tactical perspective, obviously Dreamboat Dave's done well to get to the front from that position in 9. didn't have to work too hard, admittedly, to get to it, because I suppose the likes of The Game Is On, who we thought would be the pace angle, was held up, or certainly held in behind.
I think they've
today.
approached differently. It hasn't been working making the run in, so they've tried something different. Fair play to them, and they've ended up dawdling on the front end. Kieran O'Neill's were able to dictate on Dreamboat Dave at a steady fractions, and you can see Josephine Gordon on the winner with the blue cap, one back on the rail, and Secretario travelling quite strongly, but they are not going quick, and you can see that there's a few horses keen in behind, and Dreamboat Dave, named after the guy that sat next to me, is rolling along at a leisurely gallop, and Kieran O'Neill was able to pick things up at his own time. I thought it was a good ride from Kieran.
I think it was. I'd rather been on Dreamboat Dave than the one that I bet. I think Central City, the drop back to 10 furlongs, if it had been a truly run race, might have suited, but actually 10 furlongs in a race run like this, it just looks a bit slow. But it's here that your eye starts to be drawn to Josephine Gordon on the inside, travelling well. I'm still hopeful of Central City there, absolutely no excuses. The horse in third on the outside, whose name I've forgotten. But anyway, Josephine Gordon there, you just think it's a case of when. And the thing is, I think Dreamboat Dave has proved a little bit tougher than she thought it was going to be to get past it.
He's travelling pretty well at this point. He's got a lightly raced horse in recent times. A previous course and distance winner a couple of years ago, 3 wins to the name prior to today for Secretaria. You can add the 4th. Only had that return to action last time behind Agent of Fortune at Kempton over a mile, but that was a